Imagine you decide to bake a cake. The recipe card you are handed looks like this. Your ingredients are A1, A2, and white powder data, and the instructions tell you to whack A1, and if O equals L, insert A2. In any collaborative system, rushing the naming process forces the next reader to guess your intentions. By saving yourself 5 seconds of thought, you are creating minutes of confusion for everyone who follows. It is possible to build a set of instructions that technically functions perfectly, yet remains completely unreadable to a human being. Assigning names to your variables, folders, or ingredients is not a formatting chore. You are building a shared, intentional language from scratch. If someone has to ask you what a label means, or dig through a separate manual to understand an instruction, the communication has failed. It suggests the author's convenience was more important than the reader's understanding. To fix this, we have to look at the basic grammar of system design. The core rule is simple. The things in your system must be nouns, and the actions those things perform must be verbs. Think back to our cake. The physical objects you interact with, like a bowl or an oven, are your nouns. The operations you perform on them, mix or bake, are the verbs. Then there is the pronunciation test. A massive portion of our brain is wired specifically for spoken language. If a label cannot be spoken aloud, it cannot be discussed socially. If you can't pronounce it, you can't talk about it. This is the searchability test. If you name a variable with the single letter E, a query for it inside a massive project will return every instance of the most common letter in the alphabet. It renders your navigation tools useless. Good design acknowledges human biology. We work with our cognitive limits by making sure every label we create is instantly recognizable, pronounceable, and easy to find. This leads us to noise words. Take a look at these two folders. One says product info and the other product data. Mentally translating labels back into familiar concepts introduces mental mapping, a form of silent exhaustion. Stripping away redundant suffixes clears that path. You also need to pick one word per concept and stick with it. If you use fetch here, retrieve in another, and get somewhere else, you force your team to remember which specific term goes with which module. Conversely, you must avoid puns. Using the same word for two fundamentally different actions causes critical errors. If you use add for concatenating numbers, use insert or append when putting an item into a collection. Consistency and directness are requirements. The reader should be able to skim your work and immediately grasp the intent, rather than spending mental energy decoding the author's logic. Part of writing clear instructions is knowing your audience. If your readers are technical experts, use precise computer science terms, the solution domain. That if the concept is unique to the client, draw your names from the real world, the problem domain. Words rarely succeed entirely on their own. If you see state, city, and zip floating around individually, their purpose is vague. But when you wrap them together in a structure labeled address, the intent is immediate. Precise context transforms abstract instructions into concrete reality. It acts as an anchor for the user. Let's return to the recipe that started this. By swapping encoded noise for accurate nouns and precise verbs, the instructions become elegant. A1 becomes egg, white powder data becomes sugar, and whack becomes crack. Choosing good names requires intense care and frequent reevaluation. We take great care when assigning identity in our personal lives, and we should apply that same standard to our systems. Renaming a bad label is an act of continuous improvement. Writing clean, unambiguous instructions means prioritizing the reader over your own convenience. Every carefully chosen word is an expression of professional empathy, ensuring the next person can work with